freaky.
Same. Freaky, yes.
Or Batman. Vampires.
Creepy in my hair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
When they touch down and getting in your hair. That's what I think about.
Yeah, Halloween, scary things.
Bats. Rabies.
Twilight.
Oh my god. Why would you? I
bats
just
are
think
like
of gross and like dirty places and caves. That's what I think about.
Perfect.
Creepy.
I think of a dark cave and screeching noises.
I always associate them with vampires, but
The only true flying mammal. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Except they carry SARS and rabies and
Honestly, my first impression is a rat with wings.
like a Batman.
And fangs.
The only damage that they would do in an attic or something like that is pooping on stuff. It's no big deal. They don't chew like rats and mice do. They don't bother anything. They won't come after you. You are one big predator as far as the majority of animals are concerned. We eat meat. We're predators. And most animals are scared to death of us. And they will absolutely leave us alone if we leave them alone. Are they flying mice? No, they're not rodents. Whatever other kinds of misunderstandings, do they get in your hair? I mean, that's totally somebody's imagination. And the other big question is always rabies. Do they carry rabies? Yes, they can. So can you. Are bats harmful to humans? Leave them alone? No.
You know, some screwy scientific guy once said, all fats is nuts. He didn't state no reasons why, no ifs, no ands, no buts. He simply said we're crazy, idiotic, cracked, insane.
I'm Bob Butler, and I've been farming about 54 years. Every crop is a little bit different in your spraying operation, and we had a company spray for us for quite a few years, and then we started doing it ourselves, and you don't realize how much time and money you do spend. Some years you have to, it's almost a third more than other years, but I would say we average probably from $4,000 to $6,000 an acre.
They eat so many insects. If you've got bats in an orchard here, they're after the bugs that are after your trees.
Maybe go down a little bit with the camera. That's good.
They play a very important role in ecosystems. They suppress insect populations, insects that feed on crops. Bats are natural pesticides.
And you know, bats are actually great because they eat so many insects and they use this high frequency sound to actually fly around and catch insects.
Scientists state that crops could be in jeopardy along with billions of dollars in cost to farmers from losing the bats' assistance with natural insect control.
In the Central Valley, where do bats live?
Or don't they? They are everywhere. We have 20 species right here in the valley, and they are both. They're on the river. They're up in the foothills. We have one that lives in the exfoliated granite cliffs up like Yosemite and stuff, and commutes to the valley to eat. So they're all over the place. They're in every theater marquee I've ever looked at. They're in rooftops, barns. Any of the big buildings are going to have them in the roof or in the walls or something like that. If they can find a place to get in, they're going to be there. They're everywhere. Just people don't see them very much.
Yeah, I've been farming since 1954. It'll be about 58 years. You know, with enough research and what have you, why it's something that possibly could be developed. But it sure would be, I would think, a lot better for the habitat if you could rely on helpful animals and insects to control the bad insects. You know, if you could, it would sure be it would save a lot of money, that's for sure. Okay.
Okay, so I'm Josh Brewer. I'm with Wildlife Control Technology. It's a Fresno-based company. Been in business over 35 years. We're founded by a wildlife biologist. He had his background in agriculture with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and he was working as a wildlife biologist. The nature of bats are that they're timid and that they're shy and that they aren't aggressive, and they look like the little Ewoks off of Star Wars, you know. I think they're cute. They're adorable. A common interaction for us with bats would be a client calls and says, hey, we have a need for your company. We think because we have bats that are in the way of the project. And what we do is we work to look at that situation and take the bats and move them away from the project site. But when you realize that they're not rabid, they're not vampire bats, they're not coming after me to suck my blood, you know, that kind of thing, you know. I think when that goes away, I think people really get an idea that they're really small, they're tiny. Like most of the ones in the Central Valley are really tiny. Like the body size is like the size of a mouse. And so then imagine that with wings. I mean, how harmful is that? I mean, couldn't even really bite you if it tried, you know, like so tiny. My opinion of bats are, and you bring up a good point, they are beneficial. And I concur with that bats eat insects, Bats stick to their self. They stay away from folks, and they take care of a lot of things in the way that would bother us. I mean, mosquitoes are one big bother to humans, and bats will take care of mosquitoes. Yeah, are you going to get a bat to take care of all your mosquitoes for you? Probably not. You can't control the bat and say, hey bat, take care of all my mosquitoes, but they're going to reduce populations on insects where those would be a bother otherwise.
What do bats in the Central Valley eat? The majority of bats in the world eat bugs, insects, arthropods of some sort. They, better than 3/4 of all the bats in the world eat arthropods. And they eat half to all of their weight in insects and such every night. So you're talking about a lot of insects. For instance, one little brown bat the size of my pinky finger, that's one of the most common bats that you're going to see around here, is a little brown bat about this big. They eat 600 to 1,000 mosquitoes every night, not counting all the other insects that they eat, all mosquito size. So they're catching 1,000 insects an hour. I mean, you figure out the math on that. That's find it, identify it, catch it, and eat it in 3 seconds. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. They're good at it. And they eat a lot of bugs, all different kinds. If they fly, the bats are going to eat them.
And then lastly, what is your opinion of bats in the San Joaquin Valley?
Well, if you haven't gotten it already, I'm an absolute bat enthusiast. It's been my point of view, time and again. I've talked to people who have owl boxes out. Why don't you have bat boxes out? If you have, take advantage of the natural predators on what we're after. Let's quit using pesticides, or at least not so much, and let the natural predators go for it. If you put up bat houses or something like that where there is no roost site, partly because we've removed the trees, and they used to roost in big sycamores and knot holes in the oaks and things like that. We've removed those, so we don't have too many roosts except for a few bats that use barns and sheds and things like that. Some of the others would love to have a place to roost and don't. So we put up some bat houses in your orchards or whatever, and let the bats handle some of the insect problems that we have. A lot less pesticides are necessary. They are a huge benefit in areas where they are used. And there's a number of sites that you can ferret out on the internet that will show you bat boxes in use.
I think bats are good. I like what they do, you know, and where they are. I think in most of the times, in most situations, it works. It works with the humankind as we grow and develop and society develops. I think there's room for us all to be here and all to live together and share.
Why don't people see them?
Mostly because, first of all, we don't pay attention. People don't look. People see things in the evening. They think it's birds, and they don't even connect bats at all. The only time people think bats is at night when they fly over the campfire or something and went up in the forest, or get in your house, and then people freak. But they are everywhere here, and if you see something flying at about this time of night, where we have the light level is way down, the sun is gone, and you start to see things flitting around, it's probably bats. The birds by this time are heading for the roost. They're settling down. They're sitting quietly or chattering, but they're not flying around a whole lot. And it's this time or a little bit later that bats start to fly.